rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K, and I'm excited to be bringing you another pre-ISE video cast. And this one is fun. This one's cool because this is about a product category that I have a lot of passion about. And I'm going to bring you a company that has a turnkey product to address my passion. Mansour Brek is the president of X2O Media. Mansour, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thanks, Gary. Great to be here.
You know, a lot of people that watch my video cast will know X2O Media because of the history with Barco and all the things you did years ago. But they may not know is that you have a incredible product known as OneRoom that is a turnkey HyFlex system. We literally drop into a higher education facility or corporate training facility and do true HyFlex. And to me, true HyFlex is teachers teaching, has live students, remote students, addressing them face to face because they can see the teacher can see them. And it's just like being in the classroom. And that's what OneRoom does. Talk about that for just a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. You know, it's funny. I like to say the pandemic kind of caught us by surprise a couple of years ago, and now going back to school and the office has caught us by surprise. And creating that hybrid HyFlex environment is a challenge that people didn't realize they needed to worry about, or the complexity of it. And OneRoom is really all about recreating that immersive feeling of the classroom, but where not everyone is actually there.
And that's the key, because prior to the pandemic, the people that were not in a meeting were every once in a while, right? Everyone tried to get to a meeting, and then during the pandemic, we had this situation where we were sort of lucky in the sense that everyone could be seen and heard on a meeting as long as we finally got them a camera and microphone. Going back, it becomes very complex because in a lot of cases, like where I teach at UNC, we have to accommodate remote students going forward. It's going to be the future of what we do. And those remote students prior to the pandemic would have been basically have to make up their lessons from other students' notes. But now they not just want to watch the recording of the class, they want to be in the class, and we have to accommodate that. So right now we're doing Zoom. What you're offering is like 5 steps above that. And I'd love for you to show and explain how that works, because I think a lot of people don't even understand the concept.
Yes, exactly. You know, one of the you know, Zoom and Teams and what have you, are great for doing a video conference, but they're not very good at recreating that lifelike experience. And if you look at the slide I'm putting up now, it really, the focus in these HyFlex hybrid rooms is really about one-to-one engagement and bringing in those remote people with larger screens that facilitate a face-to-face discussion, eye contact, directional audio, all the elements that you'd have in the real world are recreated in these rooms.
Yeah, and the one that you showed was sort of like almost like a virtual classroom in a way, because you have a teacher standing in a room where the students are all virtual, but you also can put this in a real classroom where students are there live, but also there remotely. If you don't mind popping up that image as well, I think that would be cool for people to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And the let me see if I can find the right one. Here's one example. It's funny, because the pendulum has swung so far that now we're almost favoring the remote person because they have their camera and they have their speaker and what have you. And now we need to, democratize the meeting again and bring the in-room people back up to the same level as the remote person. And so we do that with additional cameras that can focus in on the in-room people and bring focus onto them just as if they were remote.
Yeah, if we pop that image back up, if we don't mind here, Madeline, I want people to see, because what you have here is you have a room that's designed, you see there's multiple cameras there. There's cameras shooting the audience, the students in the room. There's cameras shooting different views of the room and also the professor. There's lighting, proper lighting. Like we obviously put ambient light in a room. We always do that. We don't always light the professor in the front of the room or the teacher in the front of the room. We're doing that properly, but we're surrounding the back of the room. Basically above the heads of the live students, you have the remote students. So this gives the teacher eye-to-eye contact with the athlete that's out playing a game in another city, taking class remotely, or the student who's sick in their dorm. It gives them a face-to-face contact. So what it does, it elevates the quality of the experience, right? Isn't
Yeah.
that the idea?
Exactly. Or somebody doing executive education and they're traveling for a week and they can't be in that room. So there's a lot of scenarios now where people are going to be joining remotely one week and not the next.
So I have some questions about some of the other features, because you have this feature. It works for huddle rooms too, which we'll show in just a second. But you have this feature called virtual rooms, which I want to talk about. But first, I want to talk about obviously you're going to be going to ISE. You're in stand number 2K300. Again, 2K300. You're going to want to stop by there because basically what's cool about OneRoom is that it's a turnkey solution. So you engage as an integrator with X2O Media, and they take care of the rest. They basically do all the work for you, and they'll create a turnkey price. And they come in and do a lot of the integration in collaboration with the integration company. Obviously, has a relationship there.
Absolutely.
It's a kind of unique opportunity here because it's kind of plug and play, but it's a sophisticated system that gives you a lot of opportunities to upsell a room in a facility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So working with those, integration partners, the goal is to provide that end user with a turnkey room that's bespoke, right? That's built for purpose.
Yeah.
This is not cookie cutter. There's not one solution here. We have to look at the space. You've got to look at what it is you're trying to accomplish. Is it teaching? Is it collaboration? Is it meetings? And then you design that room accordingly.
Yeah. And so ultimately, integrators should go to the X2O Media booth, 2K300, and at least see how HyFlex works, and then get engaged with X2O Media, because this is going to be something you may not realize it now. Interestingly enough, a lot of higher education and corporate don't even know what the word is. They don't HyFlex. They don't know how to explain it. They're saying they want to do this, and then you're not totally sure what they're talking about. And the other thing I always say about this is, a lot of times they don't even know this exists. So if you don't mention it to them, they're definitely not going to buy it from you. So this gives you a cache of images and a cache of case studies, partnering with your company, Mansour, to do that. So I want to talk about huddle room applications too, because this is not just for giant classrooms.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before we talk about huddle rooms, I did want to say one of the things will be, if you come by the booth, you'll be able to see is that new design that we call a telepresence style of room, where all the remote participants are right at eye level, sitting at the end of the table. So
do you have an image of that we can pop up?
Yeah. If you look at the slide right now, you'll kind of see that.
Yeah.
So in essence, it's like the old telepresence rooms of old, except you're not limited to those being other rooms. They're basically people anywhere in the world, and you have that same kind of one-to-one connection at the end of the table.
And much higher resolution than using the UC platforms to do this.
Absolutely, because each one of those heads is a high definition feed coming in there, so it's not.
Yeah, so this is great for companies, obviously Fortune 5,000, and I would say for a university, you approaching grad schools and private schools first, because this is definitely not the kind of thing they're going to put in any old undergraduate classroom. But schools like Duke, the Ivy League, schools that have money, they're going to see the value in upping, because they're charging a lot more money for their education. They're going to want a better experience for the remote viewer. And again, it's turnkey. Yeah. So talk about the huddle room application as well.
Yeah. So the building onto that hybrid scenario, right, where we're trying to recreate the real world. And we all know how important breakout groups or sidebars are to education and even to corporate meetings, right? It's really important to allow people. It makes for a better meeting. It avoids groupthink, putting people off into groups. Yep. And up until now, we've been limited to having the in-room people grouped together and the remote people grouped together. But if you want to mix those two, you now can have a few huddle rooms outside your main room, so you can have some of the in-room people go off and go into breakout groups with the remote participants, all the while being part of this overall session. They're not really going off to different meetings. It's all still managed all in one.
So you have the main room where when you're doing your main presenting. The huddle rooms allow you to take the people that are in breakout rooms, connect them with the people in huddle rooms, so you create a breakout room of a hybrid audience, which you can't do in Zoom and Teams right now at all. So that's interesting. Now, what about this virtual room concept as well, where you're able to?
So just to sort of fill in the portfolio, you have great success with this room, and but you may not always have access to it, or you want to have a small session with a few students later on. And so you now, from your desk can create a session just virtually without needing the actual room to do it. So that virtual room lets you do that.
Yeah, and so it's almost like having your own custom UC platform available to you that's much higher resolution and has a lot more features. So all this is available now, right? I mean, you're installing these systems now, and each one, although somewhat custom, there is sort of like a standard backbone that's there that supports everything, right?
Yeah. The platform itself is standard and off the shelf, running in the cloud. The actual deployment and the way it fits into each room and what features you may select is really how you customize it.
Yeah, and you can see that at X2OMedia.com. We'll put a link in the video cast here for you to go directly to OneRoom. Again, you can also Google X2O and then OneRoom. You'll find it. There's a lot of images online about it. They'll be at ISE. I'm assuming you're coming to InfoComm too, Mansour?
I am.
Yep. And so it's exciting. So at ISE 2K300. In the meantime, check out X2OMedia.com. Mansour, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. The president of X2O Media.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, it's great to see you, and thanks for having me on today.
And I appreciate you doing this, and I love the concept. I think it's interesting. I think if we look back at this video cast 10 years from now, it'll be funny because everyone will be just doing it. It'll be just sort of like every room will be a HyFlex room. I don't think we'll be talking about hybrid anymore, because once you've gone HyFlex, you're not going to go hybrid. You're going to be disappointed. So anyway, check it all out at ISE and stand number 2K300. Of course, X2OMedia.com. This is Gary K. If you want to see all of our pre-ISE video casts, just go to rAVeHubs.com.
rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.